Hey guys, welcome back to the Garod 15TZ6 combo set restoration project. When we last left off, finished all the major recap work on the TV portion, fired it up, got a full raster, could not get reception to the tuner, but directly injecting video to the grid of the video amp got us a nice clear image. So, troubleshooting time. Going to work my way back from the video amp towards the RF front end. But before we do that, let's take another look at this tuner. So when I first reviewed this chassis, I mentioned how it's a continuously variable sort of capacitive tuner. So it's just like an early radio. We have a whole bunch of capacitors in here, but it's not continuously tuning. It has detents. So I guess you'd be like a radio with presets. Now, I was speculating that, well, how can you adjust this? What if things get off? Is it just mechanical with the position of these notches? Well, it turns out there are a bunch of trimmers on the side. Behind every one of those holes, there's a trimmer. So we have 7, and there's an 8th here, and a 9th up front. I have to review the service info. I don't know if those correspond to the channels, or are those just aligning the front end? I'm hoping we don't have to do either. And the problem lies somewhere in here, because I do not want to mess with that. And realistically, if I can get it to work on channel 3 and 4, we're good. Because the set's going to a museum, they have their own closed circuit signal source. Just want it to work well on that. Now, where to begin? Well, we need to review the schematic, and we need to figure out what the IF frequency is. This stuff can only do 44 megahertz. If this is a 22, and it very likely is, I'll need to use something else. Yeah, of course, it's the older 22 megahertz IF. And note the stages are not transformer coupled with tuned primary and secondaries. Capacitively coupled, 100 picofarad, 100 picofarad, 100 picofarad, with a single tunable slug. There's more than one way to design a broadband IF amplifier. Alright, so I injected right here on pin 4 of the 6AC7. So we can work our way back. So what can I use? Well, I could take something like this and AM modulate a frequency within the passband, which would give me something on the screen. But if I want a nice actual test pattern image, I'll have to use something like B&K 1077B that can do the older IF frequencies. That is B&K 1077B. I've got it warming up right now. Also have the set warmed up. I want to start out by reproducing the situation we already had with the other generator, just to make sure my generator is working right and all that. I also want to point out another issue that has cropped up, which you might be able to see already, which is the set freaking out. Yeah, so there's a relay in here to controls the size of the image, and the contacts on it are not very good. And when they're not making good contact, sometimes the raster collapses, affects the brightness because it affects the horizontal and vertical scanning circuitry, which also affects the high voltage. And that's one position with it being energized, and that's the other position. I'm trying to go between them. Alright, hopefully it'll stay stable for a moment. So let's turn on the B&K. I'm injecting into the video amp again, and let's see. Got it up all the way. Oh, okay, there we go. Hey, it's upside down and it's backwards. Hooray! But the important thing is it's working. So if I overdrive it, the sync gets a little wonky, so let's back off a little. Turn brightness down. Yeah, that's not too bad. Play around with the contrast a little. Actually, I keep forgetting. Contrast does not do anything when you're doing direct injection at this point. Alright. Cool. Alright, so now the fun begins. We want to start moving backwards in the chain of things. So, right now, pin 4, video amp, it's coupled through an inductor to cathode on the 6AL5, the other side of that, pin 2. So let's try injecting on pin 2 of the 6AL5 video detector, where we should have a 22 and change amplitude modulated video signal. Alright, so I believe I have to switch to using the RF rather BNC jack on this guy. So now I'm using the video out. You can use this for both RF and IF frequencies, so I'll dig up a cable for that and then track down where that rectifier tube is in this guy. Okay, now injecting into pin 2 of the 6AL5, which is the detector. We have nothing on the screen at the moment. Let's see, make sure I'm in IF mode. I'm going to vary the IF frequency. Turn the contrast all the way up. Let's see, I'm not so sure that the signal output is strong enough at this point. So that could be a problem. So let me go a little bit back further in the IF chain and go to the grid of the 4th video IF. Pin 1, 6BA6. Let's see if that makes any difference. No. Man, is the problem right at the detector? Sure, I didn't do something stupid like forget to put the detector tube back into its socket. Well, it's there. Well, it's lit up. Had a shield over it, and I just popped the shield off so I could check the tube. I'm wiggling it now. So now I'm wiggling the tube next to it, 6BA6. Huh. So, IF mode, max out, varying the IF frequency. Well, that's annoying. It's time to fire up an oscilloscope. Make sure we actually got a signal going in. I haven't used this 1077 in a while. Well, let's go with trying the most obvious thing first. I replaced the 6AL5 with another new old stock one. I've got the scope back to looking at the grid of the video amp. So I want to make sure that 1077 is actually putting something out. So I turn it off, back on. It's definitely putting something out. If I go to IF mode, I'm in RF mode, the output's changing. And if I vary the frequency, it's doing something. But what's not doing anything is what's on the screen as I do all this. Let's try with the scope again to probe around. I do have continuity on the transformer. I got 1 ohm on either side. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's not shorted. It seems low, but output of that fourth stage. And oh yeah. We definitely have a stronger signal at the plate than we did on the grid, so it's amplifying all right, quite a bit. Change the range on the scope. Vary the IF frequency. Didn't change as much as I thought it would, but there's something there. So let's keep going again. On the other side of the transformer. Yeah, and that's where it kind of flatlines. Okay, hang on. So I'm varying the IF frequency. But I got it up pretty high, but if I get it up, well, yeah, in the neighborhood of, I don't know how accurate the dial is on this B&K2, so that's a factor, but I'm between 25 and 30 megahertz on it. And this coil's supposed to be tuned or peaked for 22.8. So, okay. So that's what's going into pin 2 of that detector. So it's on pin 5 now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, there's something on pin 5. It's tiny. Now this is on the most sensitive range on this scope. Just like 20 millivolts per division, I think, which is crazy small. We should be having in the volts range, I would think, at this point. This is what's going to pin 4 in the video lamp, and when I was feeding it from my Sencor doing direct injection, I was feeding in like 3 volts peak to peak, not 3 or 30 millivolts peak to peak. Yeah, I can turn up the generator a little bit more, which gives a little bit more amplitude. But still tiny. That's interesting. So I'm varying this IF. You guys see how that gets larger and jumps occasionally? Maybe it's just super sensitive to the frequency. That's why I'm not the biggest fan of vintage test equipment. So right now, I don't know if I can trust it's working right. But I do notice that when I get this set, so I'm getting a little bit more of a blob there, a little bit more is happening on the screen over here. Almost seems like I can lock onto something. And no, I don't have any other options to generate a 22 megahertz IF signal. So I'm starting to wonder, maybe this generator just can't put out a strong enough signal for me to be injecting at the point I'm injecting. Alright, let's go back then. I have used this before with signal injection successfully into an IF. Huh. Now I went back a stage and now I'm getting absolutely nothing coming through. Now it should be coming through even stronger. So maybe the problems at this point. Generally speaking, we have got serious lack of gain. I decided to give signal injection another try before calling it a night. And check this out. There's kind of an image there, isn't there? It's very, very faint. But there, I'll turn all the lights off. Can you see? Can you see? Turn the brightness down. There's a ghostly backwards upside down B and K. So that is going into the grid of the fourth video stage. Let's go back one stage. Now, when I did this a moment ago, I got nothing. But hey, now we've got something even better looking. So what did I do? Musical chairs with the 6 BA6s. There's 4 of them in a row for the 4 video IF stages. I swapped the first and the third to get this. Let us continue. I haven't tried the second stage yet. I'm thinking we've got a bad tube lurking in there. And I knew, even better, even better. Damn. I checked the tubes. I'd be curious to recheck this tube and see what we get. I think I checked them with Hickok 600A, which does not have a grid leakage tester. When I check them again, I'll use a different tester that does and see what we get. So now let me go to the first, which is where I swapped out the third and my first and the third. So yeah, we don't get anything there. So first off, let me turn this set off and grab another 6BA6 and take this one out entirely and replace it. Then let's recheck these tubes. Now you might also, I'm not sure if I have the video for this, but I was spot checking a few of the resistors. The cathode bias resistors, and some of them are a bit off. So that's probably not helping matters either. Once again, thanks to my tube reorganization, it took me all of 10 seconds to get a tub of 6BA6s. I'll pull out a used one. It seems like the used ones are on top and the new old stock are on the bottom. Let's see what this guy can do, and then we're going to recheck all the tubes in. That's a really miserable looking one. Let me try. Let me go fish again. Apparently I don't have a whole lot of 6BA6s in stock. There's a couple more. some nice gold-plated pins on this guy. Alright, pop that in. Go and set back on. Still nothing injecting into the first stage. Second stage again. Yeah, that's coming through all right though. Alright, well, let's do a few things. Let's recheck all these tubes. Pulled out the Cardmatic this time around to recheck the tubes. This is the tube I suspected had problems. Check out the quality. That's not so good, is it? And it is getting... Pulled out the Cardmatic. This is the tube I suspected was bad. Quality, not so good. It's also not glowing. It's also getting really, really hot. This must have gone to air. Oh yeah. Let's see where the getter was. It's a little cloudy around the top. Ow. Damn. Yeah, when tubes lose their vacuum, you might think, oh, the filament would blow out immediately. No, it doesn't. What happens is the air conducts the heat away and the filament doesn't burn out. But you don't see it glowing either. It just gets really, really hot. Let's check another one. Okay, you can see the filament glowing normally. And no shorts lights. And yeah, that's more like it. So, yeah. That was definitely a problem, and it probably wasn't doing the transformer or surrounding circuits any good either. It's a shame because it's a high quality tube too. It's a military or industrial grade. I don't see any stress cracks on the glass or anything. I think, yeah, no. That happens. It happens. Alright. I already checked the other one, it's good. We got two more to go. This is that gold pin one that I just popped in. And I also pulled out three 6J6s in the tuner. Might as well recheck those too. And so that'll be everything from the antenna to the detector being checked and rechecked. Ooh, what's up with this? Yeah, it's a 6BA6. Are you telling me that the random tube that I pulled out for a replacement is also bad? Well, no wonder that didn't improve things any. Jeez, what is going on around here? Let's check this one. We'll go digging for more. Let's see. We'll pull this one out and check it too. Alright, it's more like it. It's glowing. No shorts. It's good. Alright. We have three good tubes. Check this guy. What are the odds that I find a bad tube, pull out a tube to replace it, which is also bad. Man, it's used. Pins are a bit bent. Yeah, hang on. Alright, let's stop screwing around. I dug deeper and pulled out a new old stock RCA6BA6. Got to be careful though, because I pulled out another box that I thought was also a new old stock, and it had a used tube in it from a pilot radio. Anyway. Okay, it's glowing. Yeah, that's a new old stock tube. Just in a few seconds, we're way into the green. All right, let's check the 6J, the 3 6J6s, and pop these guys back in there. Okay, the 3 6J6s tested fine. I reinstalled all them and the 6BA6s. I'm going to go for broke and go back through the antenna rather than do signal injection, because I'm feeling a little bit more confident now. And just like that, we have a signal coming in. Didn't even have to touch anything. Oh my god. So much time wasted. This stupid tube. Oh man. And now I can really see a problem I noticed earlier where there was a bright line in the middle. That's a weird place to have an issue. So, if you recall, way back when I did a video explaining to the best of my ability how the horizontal output stage works with the flyback and the damper and all that. So, from the middle of the screen to the right, or actually in this case, because it's upside down and backwards, I think going this way, one side of it at any rate is the horizontal output tube, and the other half is the recovered energy. Now that's the flyback action. Well, you need to have everything in balance for there not to be a problem in the middle. We definitely have a problem in the middle. And there are a couple controls. There's no drive control for this, what they call a horizontal peaking. Expanded and regular. Oh, that's having some effect. But not a ton. Anyway, hey, how about some actual video for the first time? What I'm doing is using a neat feature of the VG91 where you can use external modulation, and I'm feeding the output, composite video output of an over-the-air converter box to a jack in the back of this for external AM modulation. The only downside is you can't get sound. But anyways, that's how I'm getting video into this. So I don't have to be swapping leads around or anything. It all goes through the same generator. Now, a couple things. One, that's really sharp reception. You know, we can read the fine print here on these ads quite comfortably. But the bad thing is contrast isn't doing much, and it's way too harsh. So this is one extreme of the contrast control. Here's the other extreme. Really not much difference. Also, this is supposed to have DC restoration. Now, I didn't touch the brightness. We went from an ad to a different programming, and it got really dark. With DC restoration, that's not supposed to happen, because it's supposed to lock the black, or clamp the black levels. That's the big advantage of having it. I'm playing with fine-tuning right now. So, we still have some issues. And yes, I know it's upside down and backwards. I got to take the yoke off and unmount it and flip it around. But yeah, it's the least of my concerns right now.